Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. Make this make sense, people. I was reading the affidavit of probable cause against Bryan Kohberger, and there was something in this affidavit that does not make sense to me. And I want to share what does not make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to you, but it doesn't to me. I will share this, and then we will further discuss. Check it out. This comes from the affidavit of probable cause by Corporal Brett Payne, Moscow PD, against Bryan Kohberger. On December 27th, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family residence located in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. That evidence was sent to the Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28th, 2022, a day later, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of suspect profile. At least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. So they got all these results in one day after obtaining it. From Pennsylvania, it went from Pennsylvania to Idaho to them coming up with a conclusion in one day. All right, so that affidavit of probable cause was filled out by Corporal Brett Payne with the Moscow PD. On December 27th, agents in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, were able to obtain trash, DNA, from the Kohberger family residence. It got sent over to Idaho lab, and a day later, they were able to come to a conclusion. A day later. How did that DNA get sent to the Idaho lab and them being able to determine this in one day? Was it sent via plane? Was it sent via mail? Definitely wasn't shipped there via car or vehicle. But that's what doesn't make sense to me. They were able to determine, I mean, I can understand if they got the DNA in Idaho and then ran it through a lab and got it a day later, but you're talking 2,500 miles away. First, how did the DNA results or the DNA that they obtained get to Idaho that quickly for them to determine the results the next day? When was the DNA obtained? I'm thinking that possibly maybe they did it in the middle of the night on the 27th before it got light in the morning. Then that morning, they sent it maybe via plane. If they sent the DNA via plane, that shows me the sense of urgency with this case. I mean, that would be like unprecedented for someone to send DNA instantly via a plane to get the results as quickly as possible. They were able to determine that a day later on the 28th, according to the affidavit of probable cause, unless that's not accurate, unless Brett Payne did not fill out times and dates correctly. But that's what helped me make sense of this. That's what I'm asking. Taking out the trash comes out Mondays and Fridays where I live. So I'm taking the trash out while I was, thinking about the Kohberger case. I'm like, DNA trash results in one day from 2,500 miles away. Doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you? I love to hear your thoughts. Let's talk. Covering the Bryan Kohberger Moscow, Idaho case. Covering this case extensively. Check out my playlist. We'll talk soon. Justice for the victims and their family. Oh, and one more thing. It's also a possibility, and probably the most likely situation now that I think about it, it could have been entered into a system in Pennsylvania where Idaho authorities have access to that system too. That's a possibility. FedEx, UPS. What about the chain of command about the DNA? Who handled the DNA from the trash? So help me make sense of all of this. Love to hear your theories and speculations. We'll talk soon. God bless.